Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from Grape Day at the Kearney Ag Center. We've had a number of researchers and extension folks from the UC Cooperative Extension to speak and address different needs of the industry. One of the topics was rootstock performance in Autumn King. We've had some trials in the southern San Joaquin Valley. I'm here with Ashraf Kereamy and Tian from the UC Cooperative Extension. Could you give us some highlights? You presented on it today on both young and mature vines. What results are noteworthy?
We presented today the performance of Autumn King Table Grape vines on the different rootstocks. Those rootstocks were established in 2008, 2009. And we present data for 3 years, 2013, 14, and 15. I presented this data, and then Tian present data from 2021, 2022, right?
Yes.
And the whole idea is to see how the performance when the vines were young and then when they turn mature after 11 years of planting, and see how those vines are performing.
So what is the thing I learned from that trial is we were evaluating, in the beginning were 14 different rootstocks plus all rooted vines. And then at the time, 11 years passed, and there's GRN5 and another, I think is RSD34. They did not really make to the final trial. So our evaluation was down in 12 rootstocks plus all rooted vines. So the unique thing about this trial is, of course, we have young vine and older vine data collected, which is really lucky with the support of a grower and our group at UC. And also, it's in that trial we involved in the rootstock traditional used in table grape industry, and as well as the newer rootstocks, the GRN series, well, a lot of growers want to get more information from.
So as far as the difference between young and old, I know when we put the vines and the rootstocks in, you don't always know how it's going to perform, especially in the later years, especially with some of these new ones we don't have a lot of history on. But which ones would you say performed the best? What were some of the characteristics?
One of the main characteristics that we have, actually, that's struck in our mind that, when you use unrooted vines, they accumulate more sodium, more chloride, and that is not really good for the vines. And I think the age of the vine will be declining if you have this condition. But most of the rootstocks we have tested, they show lower level of sodium and chloride. And also, there's something also I noticed when we compare the data between the young and the very mature vines that, in the beginning, I don't see in the beginning of the 3, 5 years, 7 years, you don't see too much difference in the crop and the fruit quality. But the data presented by Tian, you can see the effect start to be obvious after 11 years. You have differences in the yield and the fruit quality as well, right, Tian?
Yes. So what we find is, based on we compare data between what collected by Ashraf and Matthew Fidelis and myself, we find that the larger difference in yield, marketable yield, and pruning weights was found when the vines gets older. What we say is the GRN2 and the GRN3 rootstocks for the Autumn King vines grafted onto those two rootstocks, they had a similar performance as vines on Freedom and Salt Creek. And then GRN4 and GRN4 had a good performance as well, but the vines are less vigorous as compared to GRN2. I feel it's being able to tracking the vines from young vines to older vines and collect data at different timing really help us to have a better understanding about how rootstocks really influence the performance of table grape vines.
The GRN rootstocks, what are some of the qualities, right? They have some really good qualities as far as durability through some of the challenges that growers are facing today?
Most of those tested rootstocks are nematode resistant. So that's why we test them for fruit quality and the yield. And
They have some salinity.
Some of them, yeah.
I will provide one more point. I fear the reason of using GRN can also be related to replanting. Some of the vines, they're unrooted vines, and the grower need to pull them out because of changing varieties or the nematode damage on the vines are too much. They cannot really keep in profitable production. And in this case, have rootstock with more broad nematode resistance built in may provide grower with more options than what the traditional rootstock we have been using extensively in the valley.
All right. Well, hey, thank you both so much for the information. Learn more about it. You can access the reports, I think, through the California Table Grape Commission. Read more about it in American Vineyard Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.